Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brandon. You're watching M.O.N.Comics. This is my final Terrificon video, the last little bit that I got in on Sunday before we had to leave. And not only do I want to talk about the highlights of that day, but at the end when I wrap this video up, I'm going to tell you about maybe some tips and tricks in case you were thinking about going to Terrificon next year. Some stuff that I learned that might help anyone trying to go there in the future. Thanks for bearing with me through last week's video. I was really sick. I didn't realize it, but I filmed on Tuesday and I went to bed that night and it just got worse. And I tested at like 3 in the morning and I did in fact have COVID. It stunk. The hard effects only last for a couple of days, but I'm just feeling like myself again. So ready to make a video. Before we get into it, guys, the biggest way to help this channel grow is to like this video, hit subscribe. I got my analytics for the month and like most of my viewers were new viewers and not subscribed viewers. So it would mean a lot to me if I could gain your subscription to my channel. Come hang out, watch me get comics in the middle of nowhere and do some crazy fun stuff. So besides that, let's get into the video about the last day of Terrificon. Okay, so my whole gang that I met up with, have been talking to online for the past year. We met up to have breakfast again at the same place, Tom's Diner, restaurant, whatever it is. We were all together that time, and we got a big table, and in walks Walt Simonson again. So we said, "Hey, Mr. Simonson." He came right over. He's like, "Do you mind if I join you guys for breakfast?" Who are we to tell a comic book legend no? So he sat, he had breakfast with us, he shared stories, we reminisced about the weekend. We were all very sad it was coming to an end. And Ricky from All Sorts of Words had a great idea. He took the menu out, the paper menu, and I'll show you this picture. He had Walt and the whole group sign it, and then he gave it to Mike from M.O.N.Comics, who currently has it, but he's going to treat it kind of like the Stanley Cup. Anytime anyone has a huge life moment or gets a big comic, he's going to send it to them so we can share it and remember the good times. So that already started the day, like that we all got to have breakfast with him as a group. It was just amazing. So I had 2 photo ops that morning. The first one was Carrie Jones, who I spoke about in the last video, was the practical effects man thing, if you will. Also was in Predators and Book of Boba Fett. He was a wonderful guy, and I was the only one that showed up for a photo op with him. Tip number 1, if you really want a photo op, you can pay that money and get a photo op with them if you want it professionally done. But most of these people charge like an autograph price and a selfie price or a combo. So you got to ask yourself, like, I wanted all these framed pictures. I'm going to hang them up. It was a big weekend for me, but maybe if I go again, maybe I just get an autograph and a selfie combo and skip the actual professional picture. But he's really cool to see again. I had just seen him at the bar the night before, had a couple of drinks with him, and he's like, "Hey, what's up, man?" So I got a picture with him. And not long after that was my autograph session with Charlie Cox. But before I get to that, here's the great picture. He's a big dude, but I measured up pretty well against him. He's just massive, though. He's like double my width. So really cool. And then I was on to an autograph session with Charlie Cox. Again, lifesaver. Tip number 2, if you're going to go to Terrificon next year, if you're only going to go one day, you're probably going to want to base that around which creators are there on that day and or celebrities, because some are there Friday and not Saturday. Some there Saturday or not Friday or Sunday. If you're going the whole weekend, though, if you're going to spend Friday through Sunday, I highly recommend getting the VIP badge. And I recommend buying it in January or February so that you're locked into it, because not only did I get the line passes and in early and some swag, but this is what got me my ticket to being able to meet Keanu Reeves. So highly recommend that if you're going to do the whole weekend. So went to the line. It was probably like a 2-hour wait, maybe a little less. And then I gave that badge and I got up to the front. Now I had a book that I wanted Charlie Cox to sign. It's a beautiful Delato cover, not one that other people were picking. I just wanted something really different and cool. So that book actually, if you'll see this footage right here. All right. Got the signature series witness from Chillectables.
Very good.
They've been great all weekend. Happy to be working with them. My man Hayward right here.
Hey, what's up,
you're coming to my YouTube video.
Oh, nice, man, nice.
Appreciate
it.
So yeah, good stuff. Terrificon 2024.
All right.
Thanks, buddy. I got a company called Chillectables to go over and witness the autograph. They were supposed to have people over there witnessing it, but no one was there. And this nice guy, I think his name is Hayward, you see in the video, was like, dude, let's go, I'll go with you. And he ran over, just top-notch customer service. I wanted one book authenticated and slabbed to commemorate the weekend. So I chose Charlie Cox to be that signature. So as you can see, it is now off the CGC, but I did get something that I wanted to bring home that day. Two things, actually. I did get the professional picture with Charlie Cox. Marvel, sign me up for a villain. I'm a pretty big dude up against Daredevil. I'll have to work out a bit, but that was really cool. But the coolest thing I got is someone was selling 3D printed Daredevil masks. So I had a Mr. Cox autograph it to Brandon. I get everything personalized. It's never going to be sold again. Any autographs I get, if I can and if they will. Charlie Cox Daredevil. So I thought this was a really cool piece to take home. It sits on my shelf behind me in an acrylic case so that my kids can't get to it, because this is probably fragile. I'm not going to test it. But the book will be like a last part of Terrificon to come back in a few months. I don't even know when I'll get it back. I don't care. Like, it'll just arrive. It'll be a good surprise. But this was just a really cool thing that I thought I'd get signed by him. Charlie Cox, amazingly nice guy. Super, super cool. Super appreciative of his fans. And I just said, thanks for, being our Daredevil, and hopefully, continuing him through the MCU. And he says, I hope so too. So it was a really cool experience. Again, every celebrity, it was just like, that was the last one on the last day that just made it awesome. So I didn't have that much time for the rest of the day before we had to leave, but I do have some pickups I bought from one person, then gifts from another. So I'll show you that right now. So these were sold to me by my good friend Jeff, owner of Comic Spa, presser cleaner extraordinaire. I knew he had these books and he wanted to sell them to me, and he was just waiting, and he's starting to move his collection a bit more. So he brought them. I was really happy to get them. The first one, you'll know right away why I wanted it. Beautiful cover. It is Monsters Unleashed #5 from 1974, written by Tony Isabella, cover art by Bob Larkin. So it's a compilation of stories and movie articles related to monsters, and I'm going to put up some of the art right now from inside the book. You'll see that they show Man-Thing for a solo series cover, and then just this artwork is beautiful. It's all black and white, but it's haunting, it's gorgeous, and just awesome stories in here. So yeah, when Jeff showed me this on the phone, I knew I wanted to own it. It was like one of the few older Man-Thing books, or a book that contained Man-Thing that I didn't have. So all these are in about the fine range, which is really tough, maybe even a little better than fine. The spine looks really clean. These magazines are tough. Kids were reading them, looking through them. They were big and they're easy to bust up. So that was a very cool first book he sold me. The second one, a really cool painted cover, Monsters Unleashed #8 from 1974. Again, written by Tony Isabella. This time, the cover was done by Earl Norham. Again, compilation of stories and horror articles, but just a beautiful, awesome Frankenstein painted cover with a damsel in distress. Really cool. These would be good for the Halloween show, which is coming up soon. And the last book, awesome Sasquatch, Yeti, Abominable Snowman, whatever you want. It's the Monsters Unleashed 9 from 1974. Again, Tony Isabella wrote it. Cover again by Earl Norham. More stories which do feature the Man-Thing in this one, as well as Frankenstein, but this painted cover with the Yeti and like the old school hunters with their plaid and guns and crazy hats, and it's up in the mountains, and it's got the girl in red. So Jeff from Comic Spa, thank you so much for selling these to me. I didn't buy any books from any vendors that day, so thanks for selling me some books. I really appreciate it, and these will be treasured forever. Just, he knows me. He loved the monsters too, so thanks a lot, Jeff. Before I get into this last batch of books that were gifts for my buddy Dan of Dan's X-Men's Comics on Instagram. Dan's not a YouTuber, but he fell into our group as a lover of comics. He has a great IG page. He's made some hilarious videos, and we wish he'd start a YouTube. But I want to talk about community members I met that day, or Saturday. I forgot to mention Justin from No Good Comics. Didn't know him before this weekend. Hung out with him at the casino bar. The night that Three Men in the Basement were doing their live stream, we were busting Ryan the Colossus Collector's chops because he had gotten a signature from Jim Lee and he smudged it. So we were, telling him it was a rookie move. Another wonderful set of folks I met was Larry and his daughter Hannah. Larry is one half of the sales team of MagicGeeks on Whatnot. Does a lot of great sales. Him and his daughter Hannah were on mission to get original art, and they Hannah was carrying around a stack of just like all these books that he wanted to have signed and covers done. It was really cool to see that father-daughter connection into comics. And I was like, man, if even one of my kids can get into comics like this and come to cons, it might be a little easier to persuade the wife. But just really wonderful people. Another person within the community who doesn't have a YouTube channel, but he supports a lot of us, does have a great Instagram page, is John Big Daddy Ross. He had been following my channel for some time. He knew I was going to Terrificon, and we met up. We talked a few times, gave me a great big hug, just a great guy. And then this picture, you know, just embodies everything from the three men in the basement, Otto, Dave, Roger, and Chimo. Thanks again for being the unofficial YouTube ambassadors for Terrificon. You can see in this picture that just, they got everyone together. I think they did 2 separate photos, but it just really highlights and embodies the weekend of what it was really about, is all of us being there together as friends. So I needed a break after that. I walked outside and I look over and I see this guy that I recognize, my buddy Jason. Check out this interview I did with him. I had to, because he's an upstate New York guy from Watertown, New York.
All right, I'm here with my buddy Jason.
How you doing?
I met Jason at Free Comic Book Day up at Funky Town Comics and Vinyl, and I just walked outside. It's the end of Terrificon. I'm just about to go wait to get Charlie Cox, and he's sitting here. Where are you from?
Watertown, New York.
He's from Watertown, New York. So if I thought I had it bad for a 4-hour drive, how many hours did it take you?
5.5.
5.5. So another upstate New Yorker is here. This is the second time meeting him. Did you have a good show, man?
It's been a very good show.
Did you get everything you wanted? Did you see everything you wanted to?
I've seen everything I wanted, got all my signatures. I got Benjamin Percy and I had a nice conversation. So it's been a good con.
Do your feet hurt?
A little bit.
Mine do too. I forgot what this was like. It's been 10 years since a con. Last time was New York Comic Con in 2014. I forgot. My feet hurt. So thanks, dude.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Good to see you here.
Thank you.
So yeah, Jason is, you know, it took me 4 hours to get to Terrificon. It took him like 5.5. He was the first person that actually like called me out in public at Free Comic Book Day in Syracuse, New York. And he's been a friend ever since. It was really cool to walk outside and see someone I consider local. So Jason, shout out. Thanks for always being so cool. He had a great Ghost Rider cosplay. I walked by him like 7 times. I didn't know it was him until I saw him outside taking a break. So it was really cool to see him there. Let me show you the books that Dan's M.O.N.Comics gifted to me. He knows the way to my heart too. Surprise, surprise. So this is The House of Secrets, number 116 from 1974, written by Jack Olick and cover art by Luis Dominguez. I've seen a lot of these books before. These Bronze Age horror DC are fantastic. I just didn't pull the trigger on it. But that's a great one. Another great Bronze Age DC horror with a really recognizable cover. It's Midnight Witching Hour, number 44, 1974, written by George Kashdan, cover by Nick Hardy, and really cool black cat cover. So really thankful that Dan gifted me this. Any Twilight Zone fans out there? This is a wonderful skull cover. This is issue number 38. Written by Paul S. Newman and cover by George Wilson. Just a really cool painted skull cover. He made a deal with death and got more than he bargained for. Yeah, so really great. This next one really piqued my interest. I had seen it before, but I didn't realize the connection it had to me or other books I own. But it's The House of Secrets 83 from 1970, written by Marv Wolfman, but covered by the great Gray Morrow, who was on the creative team for Man-Thing in Savage Tales 1. So it's got this really creepy lady walking up the stairs with a lamplight and these kids and dog hiding terrified over here. I mean, sometimes a little less is more in horror covers, and that one's just creepy. He also gifted me the Chamber of Chills number 1. I have a few of these. I might start collecting them. It's from 1972, written by George Alex Effinger. Cover art by Gil Kane, who does Monsters Great, and Tom Palmer. So thanks, Dan, for that one. Then he went a little modern. Hulk vs. Fin Fang Foom from 2007. Written by Peter David. Cover art by Jim Chung, John Dell, and Justin Ronser. It's a one-shot of the Hulk vs. Fin Fang Foom. I'm going to put up some pictures from inside this book because it is just wonderful. And besides it being a one-shot of them battling it out, it does reprint Strange Tales 89. I loved this picture of the bios and power stats of these of Fin Fang Foom and the Hulk. It brought me back to the Marvel card days. So this was a really cool, again, a lot of the modern books, or, you know, I just don't know, even though this is now, what, almost 18 years old, I just don't know, but what a wonderful cover, and I'll watch Hulk fight Fin Fang Foom anytime. And the last one he gave me is a magazine, 6 illustrated horror classics, all in one, Weird Tales of the Macabre from 1974. Now, there's multiple writers in this. Pat Boyett, George Kashdan, who wrote on that other DC horror book, Gabriel Levy, Al Moniz, and Lee Summers, covered by Boris Vallejo. And I'm going to show some more pictures in this. You can see there's a Bog Beast story in this one that, you know, just reminded me of the Swamp Creatures, you know, Man Thing, Swamp Thing. Anyone was trying to cash in. And this was around the time that Savage Tales first came out. I've seen covers by Boris Vallejo before, and I think they're absolutely gorgeous. I mean, there's just a lot going on in there. This woman is tied to the stake. She's laughing, so she's obviously a witch. These guys have their crucifixes, and the devil's coming through, and it is just awesome. So, Dan, my man, I appreciate you so much, dude. You're such a kind soul, and to think of me and bring these across the country means so much to me, so thank you so much for that, dude. So I told you a little bit about tips and tricks as far as, what are you going to do? You're going to go one day? You're going to go the whole weekend? You're going to go 2 days? How advantageous this pass is. So another thing I'd like to tell you, if you're considering going, I would highly recommend booking your rooms in January or February. I booked in one of those months, I can't remember, but the first night, Thursday was $289, I believe. Friday was $185. And then Saturday was $289. And again, I split Friday and Saturday with Mike from Lunch Money Comics, so it definitely softened the cost of it. But if you only come Friday and Saturday, it's going to be even less, and less than that if you're rooming with someone. But book your rooms in January or February. I can't tell you how important that is, because I heard horror stories of people having to pay upwards of $575 a night because they booked like a month or two out. So don't sleep on it. Again, this pass is going to help you if you're going all 3 days. As far as cost of food at the hotel, you can have a meal, a burger and fries and a water for $20. I had 2 different places where I was able to get that. You can have your breakfast for $20. Your pizzas, the pizza place is very good, but it's like $32 a pizza. They are big pizzas, but it's a lot of money for a pizza compared to what you're probably used to paying, at least for me in upstate New York. If you want to go ball out, you can go have a $100 steak at Jordan's. We didn't do that. We stayed pretty economical. JP from Absolute Game of Nerds, he brought chicken salad, made it in his room. He's making chicken salad sandwiches. He's the king of that. So definitely ways to stay economical. And JP did gift me something. I let him stay at my house the Wednesday before Terrificon, and he gave Colossus Collector something for driving, and he gave me this little shadow box. Frightflix was wax packs put out back in the 80s of like different horror movies, and they typically had cards that had like cheesy sayings. So this picture of the Predator says, "I've got a bone to pick with you," and he's like breaking a bone in half. This was really thoughtful of JP, but what he didn't realize is this is how my dad introduced me to the Predator when I was younger. I bought one of these packs at the 4th of July farmer's market, and I pulled this card, and I was like, "Dad, who is that?" And he's like, "You know who the Predator is?" I was like, "No, I don't." And that's when he took me. The 4th of July was like on a Friday, and a Sunday, rainy Sunday, we rented Predator and watched it, and I fell in love with it. And it cemented our bond over Predator. So JP, thank you so much for that. If anyone has any questions too about details about Terrificon, feel free to reach out to me via DM on Instagram, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. You're going to want to valet your car when you park there, because they're going to park it so far away. You're not going to be able to, if you're going to walk and just park it yourself and you're going to carry in a bunch of stuff, it's going to be a long haul. So I would definitely recommend valeting your car. It was a great place to stay. I had a great time. The staff was wonderful. Mitch Halleck, the show creator, I got a picture with him. I can show you right here. Really wonderful guy. He was there. He does not stop moving the entire con until maybe the end of the night when he's having a beer with some stormtroopers. But he's there to make sure everyone's having fun and everything is going off without a hitch, and it totally does. They get thousands of people through that door so quick, quicker than any other con. I've been to New York Comic Con. Heck with that noise. Go to Terrificon. It was much better. His staff was wonderful. The hotel staff, I think they had it with us by the end of it. But I mean, it's their work, and it's probably presenting some problems on a day-to-day basis for them. But overall, I had a great experience. But that experience wasn't just because of the Comic-Con or the comics. Hanging out with Mike, who I got to recreate the Man Thing picture. Let me put it side by side up and show you. He gifted that to me for my 1-year channel anniversary. We recreated the picture. He was my roommate. So shout out to Mike, Ricky, JP, Ryan the Colossus Collector, Rohan from Absolute Game of Nerds, Bruce from Up North Comics, Dan from Dan's X-Men Comics, Troy from Awesome Comic Box with Troy, Mr. Akins and Big B McFly. Guys, I'll tell you, we have been planning this like since last Christmas show on Ryan's channel. We had talked about going, and we had been talking as friends before that, but that's what really made this weekend special, like meeting and hanging out with these people that I've just, been talking and bonding with over the internet, getting to spend some quality time with them, as little as it could be from time to time, but at the end of the night, we're all together hanging out. It meant the world to me, as a dad who doesn't get to go out much. And shout out to Mrs. M.O.N.Comics for helping me achieve that. It was just a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I got to thank all those guys, because at the end of the day, everything else was a byproduct of our friendship, and everything else was secondary to that. So I hope I get to hang out with you guys again at a show in the future. It was an absolute blast. Guys, thanks for hanging out through these Terrificon videos. I got a great video coming out next week. I don't know when it's going to drop, but it's something that I don't usually do. Actually, I've never done on my channel. I haven't done it personally. Someone's done it for me, but I'm going to do it. We're going to go through it, have an adventure. Again, voting for the CBCA Comic Book Community Awards are open. I'll put the link in the description. If you could throw me your vote, I'd really appreciate it. I am up against some monsters in both my categories, and I want to prove that a smaller channel can do it with the support of people like you. I can't win without your help. I can't win without the votes. I can't win without your kindness and love, and you guys show me that every week. So if you wouldn't mind going and throwing a vote for me, I'm up for favorite channel in the 1 to 5,000 subscriber tier, as well as best unboxing in the same tier. So it means a lot to me. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great, safe weekend. Until next time, keep reading those comics.